This is our 100-day project and we're up to day 6, inspired by the ocean. So I wanted to start it with something wet first so it has a bit of time to dry, because quite often projects go over a few days. You know, they don't just I don't know, in my brain anyway, they're just sort of churning around still. Okay, so I've got a bit of this is Indian ink, which is well, it's a really old bottle that I have had. See, another thing I found in my garage. I've had it for gosh, I wonder if there's a date on it, for 20 or 30 years. 20? Who knows? Anyway, at least 20 years, possibly 30. And don't know why I got it. I think I was just, probably when I was at art school, just doing some things, some experiments, some calligraphy, some printmaking. Clean up some mess as I go. So I can get a few varieties of colours in here. I decided it was going to be, this is going to be a bit like, you know, this is watercolour paper. I don't feel like talking much today, but this is a watercolour paper. That was the Indian ink. I want to mess around with a few different ideas of the blacks through to blues. This is another drawing ink. It's a little pot that I've had. I probably filled up a little well with it or something at one stage. Not sure. Sometimes these things can be experiments that go into disaster. So far, so good. I find it interesting because, you know, I may have done a lot of these things before and then you forget because you do 1,000 other things afterwards. And it's a good thing because it's kind of like, oh, this is all new again. Alright, I am going to start adding some blues. I've got, this is one of my favourites, Aeneas Senelia. This is the turquoise blue. I have got a very similar colour. It's the acrylic and it's medium viscosity, so it's actually thicker, and that's an ink. And then I've got this, the Matisse, and this is I've only just started having a little play with it. It's thicker and more solid, and it doesn't work like an ink. You can't spray it with water, and it's more, I think it's probably more brush, for brush work. Not 100% sure how that is going to go if I spray. Got my new water sprayer, so it actually is working a little bit like a watercolour. Well, it's acrylic, but it's not, you know, it's not fanning out, but this is watercolour paper, so what I want is to try and not end up with that black being taking over so much. I'm going to blend a bit. I mean, what I meant was the blue taking over. Yep, I'm really not with it today. Alright, so that's showing that that's a bit thicker. I regret putting that blue on my black because I liked that black, so now I'm going to go back in. Take a bit of these off. I'm going to need another one of these. Okay, I'm going to get another wet wipe. So how's everybody going today? Clearly I'm not wanting to speak too much today. Just going to get on with it. All right, let's put some of the black ink back, because I wanted it really dark at this end going to lighter, and it's kind of not working that way so far. But I like the effect though. I mean, I love this. Let's get rid of that there. This paper's creating these little areas. Now what I'm going to do, give it a bit of a spray. Of course, I have mentioned in the past, this bottle doesn't always want to work. It's better. There you go. You can do it. Bit of that way, bit of that way, bit of that way. And I kind of feel like I want to dry it off a bit before I can do anything more to it. But this to me is you know, it's an underwater thing. It's looking a bit like underwater to me. And then I can build on that later. So let's put it aside to dry for a bit, and I will come back to that. Let's get on to something else. Right, so I have got a little tag that I was making earlier and out of cardboard, and I've pulled up some bits of the cardboard. And so it's got this effect. Oh, you know what I'd like? I'd really love it if I had a seahorse, but I didn't have one printed out. That's jellyfish. Don't like the colour. Let's see what else I have got ready for some ideas. Okay, so I've got one of my printables. It's a nice bluish colour. I've got a couple of that colour background looks a bit like that. This was that I found some really old National Geographics in my shed, in my garage, and just colour copied a couple of things. So I've got some. No, this one seems to be that'll look nice with that. Oh, look at that. That little looks like a, on the Great Barrier Reef. This looks like a maybe no. Looks like a parrotfish, but I don't think it is. Up it. Yep, I really got no words today. Sorry, folks. You know, up at the Great Barrier Reef, we have all sorts of beautiful, beautiful fish. Of course, maybe I shouldn't be political and not make a comment about global warming, but the fact is that our coral reefs require a particular temperature and they are dying, so because it's too hot, and so the whole ecosystem is quite messed up there. But I actually went to Green Island once, and you could go and feed the parrotfish off the end of the pier every day, which was really lovely. And they were just so beautiful, bright colours. Kind of like that yellow. Except for not quite. Well, this will be a good practice cut, won't it? So yeah, these are just on normal photocopy paper. And when we call it fussy cutting, I mean fussy cutting, because like each of these little stems has got a little fluffy bit, and there's no way I can get that intricate with this. But let's just do our best for that. So what other news? Has anyone else got any news out there? Anything interesting happening? We're still at stage 3 here, which is only one person to visit. That's in Victoria. South Australia, you can have 10 people visit, apparently. That's a party as far as I'm concerned. And one of my friends, I spoke to her, she said that they are able to still go for a walk on the beach and stuff like that, whereas a lot of our beaches have closed. Yeah, I'm just moving the paper as I cut. Saves you doing that scissor, jigsaw, seesaw, backwards, forwards, whippy thing. And we're allowed to still, they've just announced that it'll go for another month here. We're allowed to still go to the shop to get food. We're allowed to go to our workplaces if we're working. It's still essential travel only. Yeah. Feel like I'm hibernating, really. Getting lots of yoga in though, I must say. Almost thinking about starting another YouTube channel just for yoga. Where everyone can enjoy watching how bad I am at it and getting some inspiration from, if I can do it, anyone can do it. Or something like that. I'll cut that bit off. Nearly there. Getting in some good eating, some juices, I just had a smoothie, a blueberry smoothie before. Getting in a bit of salads and things, even though it's getting cooler weather, so I'm eating healthy, looking after myself. Walk around the block. Actually doing better than I normally do. Although I have to say, I was planning to do that all along, and it's quite amazing how you can be going, yep, this is what I'm doing, yep, I'm doing that. And then you get distracted by everything and anything. And then, interestingly enough, now there's sort of, there's all the time to do it. Cut that right in the middle. I like that. And to find that space in yourself of how to see. I've already done yoga this morning, and I've meditated, and I've been on the bouncy trampoline, and now my brain's just right out the window, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just in that zen, just zenning out. What are words? Who cares about words? I'm using the fabric glue because I kind of thought that because this is painted, that's something. I might distress that. See how there was that bit there under there that was all thingy? What's that going to look like if I do that? Love that. Just ask a question. Does it matter if it's right or wrong? No, it doesn't. I want to see a bit of the blue through there. There. Not quite doing what I wanted it to do. Anyway. Excuse me reaching over there like that. Anyway, I quite like that. Maybe I'll put another bit over here. There, those bits there. Well, I'm going to stick it down, and then I'll getting some sort of holes or whatever there after. Poke through there. Where's the other one? There it is. The helicopter. They seem so much louder now. They weren't so loud before, but now they're really quite loud if you've got the window open. I wonder. I don't know if I want to put. I don't want to overdo it. I kind of like the look of the background. I like these frondy things, and I like the fish there. And I think that is kind of all I'd like to do on that one. Maybe. You know what it's like. I'll put it aside and then I'll look at it later and go, oh, I should have done that. Or I could have done that. And that's okay. Doesn't matter. See there? I've already thought of something. No, not going to do it. All right, I'm gonna work on something else while the other thing's drying. And this was similar, the pocket that I had for the previous day that I'd used. Remember this one where I'd used this as to make the fold-out pocket for day 4? I figured using a blue one would be good because that's the sea, isn't it? I also found these. The other day I was thinking, I wonder what happened to those like kids cutting scissors, and I found them in a box. Of course, because as soon as I say, this is a funny thing, as soon as you say, I wonder what happened to, then you find them, of course. There. How's that for sea inspiration? Wavy ocean. Let's open this. Oh, on camera. Yeah, I am. Now, how are we going to see that? Let's have a look if this is going to be dark enough to make that stand out. Seems to be. Yeah, a bit more. looks a bit crooked, doesn't it? Because that bit's sticking out. That's why. I think I don't want to have it that way in the book. I'd like to put it maybe it can go this way, and it's like little waves, and then that will mean I cut that bit off. Right, let's do that way. More waves. Now I will glue this so as it's a pocket first of all. Had to think for a minute, not messing it up. And what I might do is make these into like belly bands, like another pocket. One. What if that goes across there? That doesn't. That's not going to work like that. Something like that. And thinking. Wish I'd even cut that like that. That's wonky. Don't like it. Take two. So keep that straight. And stick this on here. So we'll have a pocket, and a band. Now I've got things to put in. That might go there. Bit of writing card. So these I made the other day. So I found them and thought, hang on, they look not the pink ones so much. Hopefully the glare isn't annoying. This has got a bit more blue on it. So I just was painting and putting over in the Matisse blue. There was I've got a copper, and that's what that is over the top, which I really like. But this, see, shine. There's that. Here's a jellyfish that can go there, or is there another? No, that'll do. That will do, mate. I was being very Australian then. That'll do, mate. Does anyone ever listen to those, you know, the YouTubes where they talk about all the things we say in Australia? How words are never the same. words aren't the same. So I have an African friend from Nigeria, no less, who when he came to Australia not that long ago, maybe a year or two, and he'd be working on a building site, and he speaks really good English. And he thought he knew English really well till he got onto an Australian building site, and he couldn't understand a word anyone was saying because everyone just shortens everything and makes it into slang. And he was like confounded about how that possibly happened with his amazingly good English. But now he's got it, and now he has a bit of a laugh, and he says, "G'day, mate," and "Good on you, mate," and stuff like that, which is pretty funny. I'm going to get my new glue. Not my new fabric fix, my new other craft glue from Spotlight, which surprisingly came out looking exactly like the fabric glue, and it was way cheaper, I'm pretty sure. And it sort of smells the same, so I'm just figuring it's the same stuff. This is a full bottle, so it's a lot easier than that nearly empty bottle. There's a little tuck spot if you want one, but it also kind of brings that sea look in. What could we put in there? little jellyfish. How's that? I'm thinking, oh, my dad actually stuck down. Might do that. No. Let's have a look. Alright, so that can fit in there, or that can fit in there as a bit of a writing thing. Kind of like that. And we have that. I don't know if that's going to fit in behind there. It might be too bulky once that's stuck down. There's enough room for it, especially if the edges are stuck down really broad. Today I cut out a whole heap of these cards. I just had some boxes, old taco and wafers, no gluten, crisp bread, and I just cut a whole heap of these cards out basically to make tags out of. So something might go in the belly band there, like that. That's a good size. One or two. Okay, going to use some of my printable. This particular printable's got quite a range of different colours and different light and dark. There's this, I always put in a sepia in my printables. I always put, I generally always make a black and white, and I always make a sepia. And I think what I'm going to do, because I love using sepia, what I might do is get all of my sepias and just do a sepia pack, because I like that. I love that. I really don't know why, but I do. I just do. I don't know why. Does it matter? No, it doesn't. Around on these edges, it doesn't look like they're sticking down very well. Might have to use the fabric glue, or the new craft glue that is very much like a fabric glue, but cheaper. there's something my flatmate and I noticed, and I'm noticing it too doing YouTubes, that you end up being sort of, your isolation if you live on your own or just only with one person, and especially like if it's not a partner or a child, your physical self-isolation is not so great. But also we both noticed how when she had to pop out to, you know, she's at home working, but she had to pop into work, that all of a sudden there were people to talk to. And we talk, we're okay, but you know, it's like how joyful that was to have people to talk to, and you don't realise how much you talk. And the reason I was commenting on that was because I was just noticing I'm really being really quiet, and it's part of it is because I don't have any feedback. I can natter away to you all, and you can be watching and you can be thinking things, or you can be talking out loud to yourself for all I know. But you know, it's not a two-way conversation, so it's kind of it's a weird thing currently. It definitely needs more glue. There we go. Okay, so I am going to take the corners off, make it even. For a tag, shape, cut a corner, just turn it upside down, put it over in there. That means it's going to match. Thank you, Artie Mays, for that little tip. That was a great little tip. Lava jellyfish, beautiful, aren't they? Our aquarium here actually has just, and I haven't even been to see it because it kind of just got finished, and then we've all been shut for COVID, my old mate COVID. The aquarium just did a massive new jellyfish exhibition renovation, and yeah, I haven't been to see it. You know what? I like these. I like this kind of octopusy thing. Oh, save that. I like a bit of calamari. It's making me hungry. Oh, don't you just miss going to, you know, getting a friend and going somewhere for a really yummy, delicious made meal? Oh, I miss that. I miss that hub. The hub of the hum, you know, the hum of people and all of that. Calamari, delicious. Not being very professional today, am I? Naughty me. Okay, how do we get, how? That's just going to cut off, isn't it? Or do I do that? No, I like this bit here, and I like that sort of circular bit. So what we're going to do is stick it down and cut it off wherever it may be. Oh, it looks like a starfish, doesn't it? Well, I'm just going to say it's an octopus. Oh, there's one on the back. It's been a double-sided print. There's those. And I don't know where my crocodile is. Oh well, this will do, the cheap one. Guesstimating. Okay, so where's my little book? Where is my little book gone? Here it is. Okay, so we've got a little writing spot card with some writing, and on the back you can do some writing. And we have put that in there. I like that. And then we have two little tags, and you can write on the back. We could try and work out. You know, could put that there. I don't think I'd get 2 out of 1, and I think I'd like to use these for something else, so I'm not going to do that right now. I've got one for here, one for there, possibly this one. No, I don't reckon. I reckon that's cute, just the way it is. And our other background here, still not dry. I mean, I might make something else out of that another time, or will I? Will I just get the hairdryer out and dry it? Come on, Christina, make up your mind. What will you do? Dum dum dum. I will just do some more on it. Paintbrush, hello. I had a little paintbrush and I had it out and it was nearly ready. Oh, good. Let's have a bit of fun with this then. See what happens when we do that. And where's my water? Activate it. Ooh, let's do this and get it up over there. Now I really like that effect because look at it, it looks a bit like coral. Get my fingers on it. Things like this are, they're not always fast, you know, because you just want to allow it to develop into what it is. So like some of the tags and things, they're great fun and I like doing them, but sometimes with something like this, it's like, well, now I need it to sit for a while, dry off a bit, come back to it. So I may do a part 2. I mean, the next one, because I'm behind, I'm also aware of, oh, there's my paintbrushes, trying to catch up a bit. So I might, the B one is tomorrow. Yeah, so B is next, but for me that's a really big one because I've been collecting a whole heap of bee stuff for a big massive journal. So I don't know, maybe I'll, just fill in a couple of, where's my water? Fill in a couple of bits. Nice and rich this colour. browny colour there. So the B one, I could spend 4 or 5 days on that, maybe even a week. All right, for all intents and purposes of this particular project, I am going to pause, I'm going to dry this, and I'm going to finish this because I have something I want to do with it. And we're on day 6 doing the underwater, inspired by the ocean, which to me is underwater. I've got these already, and I just think I will pause and come back with it dried. One sec. Okay, and I'm back. So I had an idea to make an underwater scene. I got it from that idea, but this is actually a little small. So I've got this, and I just thought that I would take the lid off. Okay. So you've got the little glass, the look of an aquarium. I don't need that bit. Cover it with some of this. I'll work out how I'm going to cut the hole. What if I kind of press? Okay, that's semblance of working. Pressing through the plastic to get the shape and hoping that no, not quite. Light on it. I can just see a bit of light on there to get this shape. That's that one. Okay. Something like that. Let's have a look. Usually you just poke your scissors through and you'd wreck the middle, but I just decided that maybe the middle's actually got a reasonable bit of detail that can be used for something else. And what I was thinking about, of course, that I've just realised, thinking ahead, that if I stick this on here to create the frame, where's my original? Okay, so this was the bit that I dried, and I've photocopied it, and I've blown one up. So I've got a couple of things to play with, but I'm just realising that maybe that background might be a little bit too, is it? Do you think? What do you reckon? Is it a bit too distracting from the aquarium in the background? Maybe not. You know what? I'm going to stick it on, and then I might just add some other things that kind of change it a bit and tone it back, maybe. Take it back a bit. Oops, gosh. Little bit of a Wobby World moment there, because we got to keep that going through every video. And it was just the, that's all right, it's just the glue, it's shut. And this covers up the edges a bit here, that's a good idea. One thing I want to check, my pocket, with or without that tag, it's going to go here or there. But will this fit here? I think I'm going to have to cut it down a bit, that side, cut a bit off each side. Top and bottom will fit, so it's cutting a bit off each side. Yeah, that's a good fit. Okay, so now, even though I've done this background, even though I could use this behind it, which is a bit more vibrant and bright, sometimes I don't want to use my originals like this. I like to have a play with them and photocopy them and scan them and bring up the colour and make it a background that's a printable. So I'm not going to use it for this project. I'm just going to find a bit more, if possible, an area that I like. That's kind of upside downish there. I like that. I like this bit here. And I think let's go with that. It's just, I like it there. Let's just tear it because it's just going to stick on the back, so it's fine. Doesn't need to be a proper edge tear. It can just be that to that. There, and approximately like that. Okay, so we're ready now with our little background. We can stick that in. In fact, what I might do is just tape down one edge so we can do that. Will I, won't I? Maybe not right now. Maybe I'll just get some little things ready to put on it. I do like this. I like this. Fussy cut though. Bit of realism, but that's okay. It's my book, it doesn't matter. Let's put it on. I actually want to know where my border is going to be. That's what I need to do. I'm going to have it as much there as possible. Oh, I know how to do that. Where is it? Where is it gone? Where's the bit I cut out? Goodness me. How do you lose something in 2 seconds? You know, the bit that I cut out of there. Is it up here? No. Is it under here? Doesn't seem like it. Yeah, I just thought it was a bit of scrap. It's not, it's here. Okay, so if this is going to be, I think, about like that. No, is that, there's my sticky tape. See how I'm brains are always working with this stuff. It's just thinking. If anyone says artists are just not intelligent, we're thinking all the time. Thinking all the time. I'm over the other side getting my sticky tape. We're thinking about so many things, and you know, even if you're not a maths whiz in numbers, here's my primary school teacher talking. Okay, there. We still have a spatial awareness of all kinds of things. I'll just do a very light pencil mark. And it's logistics. There. Bit of drafting happening here, draftsmanship, all kinds of things. Okay, let's get started. Nice bits of green, I like those. think that this area here, I was going to put a little bit more, but I just actually think that it probably needs a fish of some sort. Or a jellyfish. Oh, look at that. There's some fish. Woohoo, fishies. I don't know if that goes there. Oh yeah, that actually frames it and gets it, that gets the green kind of reasserts itself so as it's not such an overwhelming background over it. It's not an overwhelming background, but it's a, you know, it's patterned. It's a little distraction. And what do we need? Some fish. A whole school of fish, not just one, a whole school. Like that. I was actually going to do some stamping on the top, and I kind of haven't. I'm going to stick a bit more fish up there. Just fussy cut the edge a bit so as it's not so much of a straight cut. Do want a straight cut there. And that is why you don't always stick them down first, because that would have been good going underneath that little thing. But we do the best we can, and we do it the way we do it. And every day is different, because I'm sure I would have done it very differently another day. So it's all fun. It's all about being in the moment, enjoying yourself, and I just made a little aquarium. And you know what? Because these are at the front, and the fish look like they're in the background of the aquarium, and it actually looks a little bit like someone just forgot to clean the glass. Cracked myself up. Okay. I'm just going to stick the edges down and see if I'm happy with where that is. I want that as close as possible to the edge. Let's have a look. Is that where we want it to be? Yeah. Okay, here's my little aquarium window. I know I want to do something around here that tones that back a little bit. Just a bit. You know what? Our Olympic book is still going, but you know what? Swimming. Swimming. Swimming for men. That's fun. There you go. Got a bit of swimming. How's that? Now, let's have a look. What colours will work with? There it is. I'm pretty sure I've got a. That's a dark green. That's not either of those. There. Pretty sure that's this one. How do we reckon? No. Let's try this one. I think that's a bit too limey. Okay, a blank one. I love these little things, they're so good. That's a bit darker. I like that. Yeah, something in there matches that. Wow, I really am quiet. I'm usually much more chatty than this. Just in the zone. That is Forest Moss by Ranger, the Distress Oxide. Love it. For me, I go between Distress Oxide and the Stays On. I like them both. They're my favourites. In fact, I've got a cupboard with other things in and I just don't really end up getting to them. Swimming, men's swimming. And just then, when I said that, Bondi Beach popped into my mind. I reckon I want a bit of blue to tone that back even still a little bit more. I think it's a bit too green. I like the dark edge though with the blue over it. I'm going to put a bit of this around. Plastic sticking out. Still a bit of plastic sticking out. Come on. What are you doing? Well, that's good because I stuck the sticky tape on the plastic rather than to underneath. So that was good to see that now. There. That's better. Same over here. Stuck it on, but then the plastic's stuck down, so it's okay. Alright, it's okay. Everything is okay. We are doing alright. Maybe we need women swimming as well on here, not just the men. Don't know why that one was what I put on. And because I just thought that, of course, I'm going to put the women swimming on too. There. That'll be even. Women's Olympic swimming team. Hungary, 1 minute, 6.8 seconds for the 100 metres. I don't know what part of the book this is, so it's, I don't know what year that was, or whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, or whether that's been well and truly surpassed by now. Maybe it has. I'm getting a lot of mileage out of it. I'm getting so much mileage out of this Olympic book. It's like, I saw it in the op shop, which is like our second-hand bookshop, clothing store, you know. I don't know what it's called anywhere else in the world. I saw it and I thought, that is so, like, daggy. Like, you know, who would have a book on the facts of the Olympic Games? And all I could think of was some old grandpa or old dad or something. I actually thought someone who might be in the military even. I should just shut up. Okay, I'm going right off now. Going loopy. We're into the loopy moment of filming. And swimming women. There are women who swim as well as men, apparently. Did you know that? Yes, you did. You may actually even be a swimmer yourself. I wasn't. Someone tried to drown me when I was younger, so I was always a bit scared of the water. And then my husband, the girl's dad, was brought up in a family that lived on the beach, and he always went surfing and loved his surfing. And I had to kind of learn, I guess. I didn't really learn how to be a great swimmer, but I did learn how to swim. And I got less scared of it and got to really enjoy it a lot more. Right, I think we might... That was probably very long-winded. We've got a tag. We've got this little kit, which I will stick in. Lost my other glue. I'll use this. I'm going to put it so it is another tuck spot behind there. Okay. Little tags. That could have been a tuck. Sometimes with these I don't know if I want to stick it down because I kind of want to use it for something else, but then this is the journal. I just had an idea. Right, I'm going to do it because I thought about it, because I got the new circle punch, mostly because I thought about it. Oh, and then it wouldn't cut it. Okay. Well, if that's telling me not to do that, that's probably because there's the plastic and too many layers. Okay, well, we'll just stick it in. Although I could still make it a tuck spot. What if it's a... Ooh. What if it... does that? What if it's a flap? No? Could be. So where's that washi gone? That Officeworks special. Okay, I'm doing that. That's what I'm doing. That is exactly what I am going to do. I'm gonna just under there, put that there, a bit like that. It's going to come in a bit more. So it grips the paper, but not that paper. Okay, I reckon that's the way I like it today. And this is just going to pop over here like that, and I'm going to stick that down a bit better. Later I might make this a little bit more neater. Get off. Fluff, 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 and there. Okay, that went on a bit. Let's see if this will fit in here or not, or whether that's just a bit silly. Right, there you go. I think it's very, feels, no, it's too bulky. Save that for a different thing and put these in here and do that like that, and there we have it. Day 6, inspired by the ocean. That went on way longer than I thought. Anyway, have a good day. See you at the next one.